Who told you that time is the enemy? No, chosen one, it is only the disguise that God wraps around your soul, so that your light does not blind the world before its appointed time. Perhaps you have sat in a silent room in the middle of the night, looked into the mirror, and seen something strange. You do not look like your age. Not just because of your skin or your eyes, but because something inside you is glowing. A gentle yet powerful light, as if your soul is illuminating itself. And in that moment, an ancient verse echoes in your mind, Psalm 103:5. He fills your mouth with good things, so that your youth is renewed like the eagles. You don't know why, but those words make your heart tremble. Could it be that this is what is happening to you, the rebirth of the soul's youth? Once, you feared time. You saw birthdays as a sentence. But now, while others grow weary, their backs bent, their eyes dim, you feel more alive than ever. They look at you, astonished. Some whisper, "Why do they never seem to age?" Others ask softly, "What's your secret?" But if only they knew. That secret does not come from creams or diets, but from the deepest part of your soul, the place where you once broke, fell, died, and were reborn. Time is no longer a cold river passing by you. It is the invisible teacher, shaping, testing, purifying. When you live out of rhythm, it makes you fade. But when you align with the frequency of your soul, it bows before you. For time has no power over those who have awakened. You, the chosen one, no longer live by the clock of the world. Your body still belongs to the earth, but your soul moves to a different, beat the rhythm of divine timing. And so, you do not age, you evolve. There is something the world cannot understand. How can you, who have walked through pain, loss, and betrayal, still shine so brightly? The answer is simple. You do not waste your darkness. You use your pain to create light. That light is rewriting the laws of the flesh. You do not fight against time. You dance with it in a sacred rhythm known only to souls that have once been broken. Some may call you a glitch in the matrix, but in truth, they are the ones fading, for they have lived too far from their own souls. You, chosen one, have learned the way back. You have understood that the clock does not measure age, but the depth of presence. And in that presence, you become beyond measure. Some will be curious, some will envy, but a very few, will recognize you as a sign of something greater rising on this earth, the return of the souls who know they are not bound by time. When you pass the mirror, do not just see your face, see the ancient soul behind your eyes smiling, a soul that has lived many lives, loved, lost, burned, and is now remembering itself. In that moment, all the noise of the world fades away. You can feel something calling a whisper that travels through the air, saying, "Anointed one, time is not the enemy. It is the garment God has placed upon you, so that you may learn to see your own light within the darkness." The atmosphere shifts. You cannot tell if it's the light or if the universe has just opened a doorway. A soft breeze moves through like a greeting from the divine. On the clock, the second hand pauses for a beat. You see the number 111. Prophetic seal 111, the beginning of alignment. The beginning of a new cycle, a sign that you are in the right place, at the right time. From here, the journey begins, not to chase youth, but to rediscover the eternal origin of your soul. So, chosen one, take a deep breath and step through the doorway. Time is waiting for you not to take anything away, but to return everything you have ever been. There was a time when you believed time was working against you. Every morning, looking into the mirror, you saw another wrinkle, another trace of weariness, another shadow of sadness in your eyes. And you wondered, when did the light within me begin to fade? But that question was never answered with words, only with the silence of the soul, the kind of silence that comes when a person reaches their breaking point. That was when you began to realize, pain does not only make us grow old, it also awakens us. In those days, you lived in a world where everyone was running from time. Everyone was afraid of being left behind. Everyone was chasing a reflection of who they used to be, trying to hold on to youth as if life itself were contained within the skin. And in that endless race, you too lost yourself. You worked without rest, smiled when you wanted to cry, forced yourself to fit in with the crowd. You thought being fine meant being strong, but in truth, you were only pretending not to hurt. Every night, when the lights went out, silence became a mirror that revealed everything. That was when time began to speak to you not through seconds, but through wounds. It spoke through tired eyes, through soulless relationships, through long empty nights. It said, "You are living too fast for a soul that needs to breathe." And you understood. What makes us old is not age, but losing connection with ourselves. There were nights when you could hear your heartbeat like a forgotten prayer. You could no longer tell where sadness ended and exhaustion began, where fear dissolved into both. Everything blended into a heavy fog. You wondered, has God forgotten me? But just as that thought formed, a strange breath entered your chest, light as morning mist, whispering, "I have never left. You just haven't been still long enough to feel me." Psalm 25:14 once said, "The Lord confides in those who fear him," and in that fear of being forgotten, of loss, of time, you began to hear his first revelation. One day, you looked around and realized you were living in a world of masks. Everyone was trying to keep their outer image unchanged while falling apart inside. You saw the falsehood behind smiles, the tired energy in the eyes of strangers, and you realized what exhausts them is not time running out, but the act of performing, to be loved, to be accepted, to appear young, to avoid being left behind. The world had become a stage, and everyone an actor slowly turning to stone in their own role. But you, chosen one, could no longer perform. Your soul began to refuse. It was tired of pretending. It longed to breathe in the air of truth. Yet to live truthfully comes with a price: isolation, doubt, loss. People who once felt close slowly drifted away. They could not understand why you had changed. But what they did not know was that God himself was pulling you out of the crowd, placing you in solitude where time grows quiet and the soul can finally see itself. Time then became a sacred mirror. It no longer reflected your age, but the state of your soul. Every wrinkle, every spark in your eyes told a story of what you held on to and what you let go. You began to see that those who cling to anger become rigid, those who hold on to fear grow dry, and those who forgive become soft, radiant, glowing like the sunrise. And in that mirror, you no longer saw who you used to be. You saw a soul returning home. Many cannot endure this stage. They run back to the noise, trying to fill the emptiness with busyness, with work, with crowds. But you were different. You chose to stay in the silence because you understood that darkness is not punishment, but the waiting room of light. There, all masks fall away, leaving the soul bare before itself. You began to listen to the whispers of time, soft, deep, sometimes painful. Yet it was that sound that brought you back to life. Then one night, at your most weary moment, you looked up at the sky and saw the number 2 to 22 glowing on your phone screen. It was no longer a coincidence. Prophetic seal. 222, the symbol of balance, the reminder that you are not alone. You smiled, tears running down your cheeks, because now you understood. Every pain, every waiting, every person who left all were part of the grand symphony. Nothing was wasted, not a single second truly lost. Time was never against you. It was teaching you how to return. You learned to forgive. First, yourself for trying too hard, for trusting the wrong people, for forgetting your own soul in the endless race. Then, you forgave those who hurt you, not because they deserved it, but because you deserved peace. And as forgiveness began to flow through you, your body felt lighter. The energy within you moved differently, like a pure current of light flowing through every cell. You realized that forgiveness itself was rejuvenating you, not from the outside in, but from the inside out. Your body, your face, your voice, everything began to change. Every cell seemed to understand the peace newly signed within your heart. They exhaled with relief, and you felt it clearly. I am being renewed. No longer running from time, you began to walk with it. Each passing minute was no longer a subtraction, but a beat in the sacred dance. You started to see in others' eyes the same fear you once had, and your heart filled with compassion, because now you knew they have not yet heard the call you once heard. The call to return, the call of sacred time. That night, you looked into the mirror again, not to see how much you had aged, but to see how much your soul had begun to shine. The reflection was no longer just the light in the room, but the living energy flowing through your skin. You whispered, I understand now. Time does not come to steal youth, but to return truth. And in that silence, you felt a warm breeze pass by like a hand resting gently on your shoulder. Perhaps it was God. Perhaps it was your higher self. Whoever it was saying, "You are ready for what comes next." One morning, you woke up without knowing why tears were falling down your face. There was no sadness, no memory attached. Only the feeling that your heart had just opened a door that had been locked for far too long. Sunlight slipped through the curtains, touched the wall, then gently landed on your face. That light felt different, not blinding, but soft, warm, and almost conscious. You sat up and looked around the quiet room. Everything appeared the same as yesterday, yet you knew something had changed. Not outside. Inside you placed your hand on your chest, feeling your heartbeat slow and deepen. Each beat seemed to carry a strange signal, as if your body and soul had just renewed an ancient covenant. And within that breath, a sound rose from deep inside. Not a voice, but a knowing, clear and complete. You are no longer who you were. The words left you silent, because deep down, you knew they were true. You stood and walked to the mirror. The reflection staring back was familiar, yet not the same. There was something alive in your eyes, as if another being were looking out from the other side. You realized you were no longer seeing yourself with ordinary eyes, but with your soul. And for the first time, you truly saw yourself, not the image the world assigned to you, not the role you once tried to maintain, but a soul that had walked through darkness, endured, broken, and now was being reborn. A gentle warmth rose through your body. Your hands trembled slightly, not from fear, but from energy. A pure energy flowing upward, like a river running backward from the heart to the throat, spreading through every inch of your skin. You heard a whisper in your mind, "Let the light do its work." You inhaled, exhaled, and the light in the mirror seemed to breathe with you. The boundary between body and soul began to dissolve. You felt yourself merging with life itself. Psalm 36:9 says, "For with you is the fountain of life. In your light, we see light." You understood now. This light was not here to be shown off, but to remind you of your origin. In that moment, you knew you had never lost your beauty. You had only forgotten how to see it. And when you see yourself through the eyes of the soul, time bows. It no longer holds judgment. The energy within you began to shift. You could not explain it scientifically, but you could feel it clearly, every cell opening like a sunflower greeting the dawn. You stepped onto the balcony, the wind brushed through your hair, and within that wind, you heard laughter, not mocking, but a blessing. Perhaps from your guardian angel, or from the awakened light within you. A strange stillness wrapped around you. The rush to catch up with time was gone. The fear of being too late disappeared. Everything was suddenly in its rightful place. And you understood this was alignment, the state you had heard of, but never touched. Now, you no longer needed to strive to be higher, better, or more. You were already where you were meant to be. That pure presence brought tears again, but this time, they were tears of grace. You remembered the years gone by, all the times you tried to please others, the sleepless nights, the loneliness that felt like an endless pit. They all returned, but instead of pain, you felt gratitude. Because without that darkness, how would you have recognized the light? Without losing your way, how would you have known you were being guided? And when you whispered, "Thank you," the air around you seemed to hum softly, but enough to make your skin tingle, as if the universe itself replied, "I've been waiting for you to say that." You smiled, and in that moment, time stopped. No past, no future, only the sacred present, where your soul stood bathed in eternal light. In the stillness, a number appeared in your mind. 333, prophetic seal. 333, the presence of angels. The confirmation that you are being guided. A warm current flowed through your chest. You knew you were not walking alone. You never had been. Your body felt light as air, and in your mind, a voice spoke, gentle, powerful, echoing, like it came from the heavens. "Chosen one, I have waited for you to remember." That sentence unlocked every last doubt. You wept, not from weakness, but from the realization that every pain you ever endured had been a love letter from God, written in the language of trials. And now, you had finally learned to read it. And in that moment, you knew this was the first awakening. There was no more need to search outside. You understood that the world did not need to change for you to find peace. Peace had always been within you. You only needed to remember. Time, body, memory, all were mirrors through which the soul learns to love itself. You stood in the center of the room, and everything around you seemed to glow, breathing with you. The light touched not only your skin, but reached deep into your bones. You knew that from this moment on, life would never be the same, because you had seen. And once the soul has seen, it can never unsee. You closed your eyes, letting your breath merge with your heartbeat. And in that silence, you heard a gentle invitation not from the world, but from the universe. If you can hear this, it means you too are awakening. Share your light, for light only grows stronger when it is shared. You opened your eyes, your smile filled with gratitude. Perhaps it was a message for other souls, for those listening, feeling touched at this very moment. You spoke softly, slowly, warmly. If you feel something stirring in your heart right now, it's not a coincidence. Hold it close. And if this light has reached you, let it spread. Like, share, and subscribe not for me, but so the universe knows you have heard the call. A gentle breeze moved through, carrying the sound of your voice as if sending it to the heavens. And you knew a new journey had begun. Not a journey of seeking, but of returning to the light, to yourself, to the source. You turned to the mirror one last time. The light was still there, but this time you didn't just see it, you were it. When you realize that you are the light itself, the world around you begins to change. Everything that once seemed ordinary suddenly feels alive in a strange and beautiful way. The light of dawn is no longer just light, it is a greeting. The wind is no longer just moving air, it is the whisper of the universe. Everything around you seems to speak a language only the soul can hear. And you understand, the world has never been silent. You simply forgot how to listen. From that moment on, you begin to sense every subtle vibration. The sound of leaves brushing together carries the heartbeat of the earth. The morning dew reflects the stillness of heaven. Everything has a soul, and they are all harmonizing with you. When you walk, the ground seems to know. When you inhale, the plants breathe with you. The world is no longer separate. It has become one vast living body, and you are its breath. Psalm 19:1 says, "The heavens declare the glory of God. The skies proclaim the work of his hands." Those words echo within you, not as ancient scripture, but as a living voice in the present moment. You look to the sky, feeling each beam of light touch your skin, and you know this is no longer sunlight, it is the touch of God. When the soul opens its eyes, you begin to see layers of reality interwoven. Some people pass by, leaving trails of energy like smoke. Some places you enter feel warm and glowing, others cold and heavy. Everything is vibration, and that vibration tells you who is real, who is hiding, who is weary, who is silently crying for help. You no longer need words, you can feel it. At first, this sensitivity overwhelms you. You think you might be imagining things. But then, in the stillness, a voice whispers, "Do not fear. This is the true vision of the soul." And you realize this is not illusion, but revelation, the sacred sight the material world made you forget. You see the number 7 to 77 flash on a digital clock. Those 3 sevens stop you in your tracks. Something deep within tells you it means something. You look it up, then smile. Prophetic seal, 777. The opening of the soul, the number of awakening and divine mystery. You know it instantly, this is no coincidence. It is confirmation that you have entered a higher state of awareness, where light and darkness are no longer opposites, but 2 sides of the same lesson. The world begins to mirror you. When you are at peace, the scenery softens. When you are grateful, everything seems to bloom. And when you are afraid, the shadows respond. Time no longer feels linear. Everything happens at once, like overlapping circles. You begin to see time, space, and people are mirrors of consciousness. When the soul changes its frequency, the universe changes its form. One morning, you sit in meditation. No music, no candles, only breath. In the deepest moment, a wave of white energy rises from the base of your spine, spirals around your heart, and bursts upward through your crown. Your whole body trembles, not from fear, but from the sheer force of life. You hear the wind in the room shift direction. You hear your heartbeat like a drum. Every cell is singing, and a voice rises within the light saying, "You are being reconnected. No one taught you this. No religion could have prepared you for it. But you know, this is the baptism of light, the cleansing of the soul." All that was heavy anger, resentment. Fear turns to ash within the pure flame burning inside you. You feel your body grow lighter, your mind clearer. The questions that once haunted you fade away. Because the answers were never outside, they are blossoming within your heart. You open your eyes. Everything is wrapped in a soft golden glow. The trees seem to shimmer. Even lifeless objects appear to breathe. You no longer look at the world. You see through it. You sense the energy of each thing, each person, each moment. And strangely, everything is perfect. No mistakes, no wrongs. Every joy and every wound holds purpose. You whisper, "All is one." And the voice within answers, "Yes." You finally remember. In the days that follow, the world feels renewed. You speak less, you listen more. You sense the energy beneath every conversation. You begin to recognize who is truly hurting, who is truly seeking light. You no longer judge, because your soul understands everyone is walking their own path, just as you did. Instead of reacting, you choose to send light and compassion. And miraculously, when you send light, it returns multiplied. One evening, you watch the sunset. The sky melts into shades of orange and violet, layers of clouds like ribbons of light. You see time dissolving into eternity. There is no day or night, only existence. Once again, tears fall not from sorrow, but from gratitude. You whisper, "Thank you for letting me forget, so that I could remember." Psalm 37:4 arises within you. Delight yourself in the Lord, and He will give you the desires of your heart. And you understand every true desire, when placed in the hands of the Creator, becomes light. You do not need to beg. You only need to align. When the soul flows with the sacred current, everything arrives. Not early, not late, perfectly on time. You stand, taking a deep breath. Everything seems to breathe with you. Each inhale is a prayer, each step a blessing. You know the real journey is only beginning. Awakening is not the destination, but the doorway to infinity. From here, you will enter new tests where the light must learn to stand firm within the dark. You turn to the mirror. In it, there is no single face. Countless reflections overlap past, present, and future, all smiling together. Your soul looks straight into your eyes and says, "Now you have seen." But remember, light is not meant to be admired. It is meant to guide. You nod gently and reply, "I understand." Outside, a bell rings in the distance. 3 deep, resonant tones. Your body shivers. 3 tones, 3 numbers, 777. You smile. The message is clear. The soul has awakened. The journey of light has truly begun. After the soul opens its eyes, the light within you grows too strong to hide. You walk into the world with an open heart and clear eyes. But strangely, instead of being welcomed, you begin to feel a quiet distance. Some of the people who once felt close now avoid your gaze. They do not understand what has changed, only that you are not the same anymore. You smile, believing that things will soon settle, but you quickly learn light always reveals shadow. At first, you cannot understand why the energy feels so heavy. Many grow uneasy around you, even when you say nothing. Some begin to whisper, question, even mock. And those you once trusted grow silent and distant, as if you have become a mirror, showing them what they do not wish to see. That is when you learn the first lesson of this path. Light is not only beautiful, it is also lonely. In those days, you start spending more time alone. Quiet mornings with coffee, long evenings without messages. You walk through crowded streets, yet feel as if you belong to another world. But within that empty space, you begin to hear the true voice, the voice of your soul. It speaks not through words, but through feeling. Do not fear. This is not rejection. It is purification. What no longer vibrates with you will fall away. You take a deep breath. Those words sink into every cell. And you understand, the path of light is not lined with flowers. It is the path of shedding. Every person, every habit, every comfort once tied to you is carried away by the wind, leaving only your purest essence behind. Psalm 34:18 says, "The Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit. You close your eyes and whisper, "Then you must be very near to me." And yes, in the stillness of solitude, you begin to feel a warm presence beside you. You cannot see it or touch it, but you can feel it. An energy surrounding you, like invisible arms. You know you are being held. Then the real test begins. Old memories resurface, people who hurt you, words you never forgave, mistakes you tried to bury. They return, clear as slow-motion film. You thought you had moved on, but no. Light does not only reveal the future, it also illuminates the past. It asks you to face the parts you once avoided. And in that mirror of memory, you see your former self trembling, afraid, wounded. You want to look away, but the inner voice whispers, "No, you must see." You look deeper. Tears fall. You see how you once begged for love from places that could never give it. You see how you traded your worth for acceptance. You see every time you stayed silent, endured, sacrificed until you were empty. And instead of anger, you feel compassion. Compassion for the child within you who tried so hard to be enough. A wave of warmth rises from your heart. Forgiveness. Not to excuse others, but to free yourself as you whisper, "I forgive." The air around you seems to change color. The heaviness lifts. The darkness dissolves. All that remains is peace. With a deep breath, your body softens. The sky feels wider. And in that moment, you hear the familiar whisper, "You have passed the first gate." But the journey does not end there. Forgiveness opens the door, but courage is the key to walk through it. In the days that follow, the universe begins to test you. An old person reappears. A tempting opportunity returns. Yet your soul knows it no longer fits. You stand at a crossroads. Go back to what is safe, or step forward into the unknown. Fear rises like a wave. The old self says, "Don't risk it. Stay." But the light within replies, "You cannot shrink once you have expanded." So you step forward. A trembling step, but true. A step not made from logic, but from trust. And as you walk, the ground beneath you seems to glow. Each step is a yes, a declaration to the universe. "I believe." And the universe answers not with fireworks, but with presence. One rainy afternoon, you glance at the clock. 4:44. Prophetic seal. 444, the sacred foundation, the protection of the angels. You smile. A clear sign, a silent nod from your guardians. You are not alone. You never were. The world around you begins to change its tone. New people appear, lighter, more genuine. Opportunities come quietly, but right on time. You no longer chase things come to you, because now you act not from fear, but from faith. And when faith leads, time bows once again. There are still nights when you cry, when you remember, when you feel the emptiness. But this time, you do not run. You let the tears fall like a stream, cleansing your soul. Each tear becomes a silent prayer. And through the sound of rain outside, you hear a voice whisper, "This is how you are refined." You sit there, hand on your heart, whispering, "I am ready." From deep within, a light expands, warm, gentle, but powerful. You know you have just survived an inner storm. And when the storm settles, what remains is true peace. The kind that does not come from the world, but from full acceptance. Psalm 46:10 echoes again. "Be still and know that I am God." Now you understand. You do not need to control. You do not need to fight. You only need to be still and trust that you are being guided. In the days that follow, you begin to see the world through new eyes. You see those who once hurt you, and instead of resentment, you send blessings. You understand they are simply living from places still unhealed. And so, you are not only free from them, you also free them from the weight of your bitterness. Forgiveness becomes your weapon, and love humble and deep becomes your power. Along this path, you begin to grasp what it truly means to be a chosen one. Not because you are above others, but because you are called to remember what others have forgotten. You are the mirror through which they can glimpse their own resurrection. And to do that, you had to walk through darkness first, to know pain, loss, and loneliness, so that when the light returned, you could speak not from theory, but from truth. I have been there, and I have been saved. On the final night of your trial, you glance at the clock once more. The minute hand touches 12. The hour hand rests at 5:55. Prophetic seal, 555 great transformation. The turning point of the soul. You smile. The light within your heart flares gently. You know this chapter has ended, and a new one, the chapter of true transformation, has just begun. After the storm, everything becomes strangely still. The air feels transparent, and every breath carries the scent of a new beginning. You step outside, sunlight touching your skin, no longer harsh but gentle, almost alive. For the first time in many years, you feel true peace, the kind that needs no reason, no condition. It simply exists, like the sun that is always in the sky, even when clouds hide it. And in that stillness, you begin to understand something profound. Light is not only illumination, it is pure love. Not the kind that binds, controls, or demands, but a soft, forgiving energy, the very essence that created the universe. One morning, you sit by the window, watching sunlight stream through the leaves. In the silence, you feel your heart open, not as a metaphor, but as if an invisible flower is blooming in your chest. You hear its rhythm merging with the heartbeat of the earth. You are no longer just you, but us. Every being, every sound, every breath feels connected. That is when you understand the meaning of Psalm 145:9. The Lord is good to all. His compassion rests upon all he has made. Those words are no longer verses on a page, but living breath. You feel that compassion, not as an idea, but as energy flowing through you. And so, the journey of love begins. Not the love that reaches outward, but the love that returns inward. You learn to love yourself, not your ego, but your soul, the part that has endured so much pain. You place your hand over your heart and whisper, "I forgive you. I love you." Simple words, yet they bring tears, because for the first time you are no longer asking anyone else to accept you. You become the parent, the friend, the beloved of your own soul. In that state, you begin to see the world differently. Those who once hurt you now appear small and lost. You no longer feel anger, only compassion, for they are simply loving through their fear. You understand that no one can give the love they have never received. And once you realize this, you no longer wish to fight. You only wish to love, to send light, even to those not yet ready to receive it. You begin to understand that love is not emotion, it is presence. When you sit in stillness, simply being there, the world is already healing. You do not need to fix, to convince, to change anyone. Just being there, heart open, is enough. Because light spreads not through effort, but through frequency. Then one day, the universe sends a new test. Not painful like before, but more delicate, the lesson of surrender. You begin to learn how to let go, not from despair, but in trust. Some plans fall apart, some dreams seem to vanish. Yet instead of resistance, you take a deep breath and say, "Thy will be done." And in that moment, a soft strength floods your heart, the power of surrender. You realize that light is not always bright. Sometimes it hides in the dark so you can learn to trust without seeing. During those times, you no longer feel signs or angelic whispers. Everything is quiet, but deep inside, you know heaven's silence is not absence. It is the pause between two blessings. One night, feeling empty, you step outside and look up at the sky. Across the dark horizon, a shooting star flashes by. For some reason, you laugh, because you know that was your answer. The light is always there. Only sometimes it asks you to see in the dark. The next morning, you look at the clock. 8 to 88, a number that doesn't exist in time, yet clear in your mind. Prophetic seal, 888 infinite cycle, triple new beginning. You know now that surrender is not the end. It is the entry into a new cycle of creation. When you stop trying to control, the universe begins to create with you. From then on, everything becomes light as air. Your relationships shift. Old ones fade. New ones arrive naturally. You no longer search, because what belongs to you will find you in perfect time. You no longer prove your worth, because your energy already speaks it. And strangely, everything begins to bloom around you, not because you forced it, but because you allowed it. Psalm 23:2 rises in your mind. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside still waters. You smile. This is that pasture, the state of a soul that knows everything is already perfect. You no longer race, no longer compare, no longer fear being late. You understand that time holds no power over the one who knows love. When love and surrender become one, you turn transparent. Negative energy passes through you without sticking. Old wounds dissolve, not because you hide them, but because your light is too strong. You no longer search for God in symbols, rituals, or words. You have become the dwelling place of the divine. One evening, as the sun begins to set, you feel drawn to the sea. The wind carries salt, the waves move gently, and you sit down, eyes closed. The sound of the tide becomes a prayer of water. You place your hand on your heart and whisper, "I give it all back." The words flow out like an ancient vow, blending into the wind, the waves, the sky. In that moment, you know you belong neither to fear, nor to the past, nor to the future. You belong to the eternal present, where only light and love exist. A ray of sunlight breaks through the clouds, touching the surface of the sea. You open your eyes and see your reflection in the water, but it's strange, without clear form, only a shape of light, smiling. You know, this is your truest self, neither male nor female, neither young nor old, without name or label. Just pure love wearing human form, learning to feel, to forgive, to surrender. As you stand, the wind lifts your steps. The waves retreat, leaving sand that glimmers like a million tiny stars. You turn back and see your footprints fading, and you understand the journey is not about where you go, but who you become. Darkness taught you courage. Light taught you love. Now, love teaches you surrender not as weakness, but as complete trust. There are moments when words cannot reach. Only silence remains, only breath, and an invisible light spreading through all space. That is the moment you know you have crossed into another state. You are no longer the human searching for God, but the soul dissolving into Him. It begins on an ordinary morning. The sky is clear, the breeze gentle, birds sing like greetings. You sit quietly, holding a cup of steaming tea, and suddenly you feel that everything around you is alive. Not just alive, but aware of you. The tree in the garden bends softly with the wind, as if bowing. Sunlight filters through the leaves, painting your hand with small dancing spots of gold. You watch them, and in an instant, the boundary between you and the world disappears. You are no longer the observer. You are the light. Your body seems to dissolve into the air. No more bones, skin, or breath. Only a field of energy vibrating in harmony with the rhythm of the universe. Every cell hums like a perfectly tuned string. You feel every particle of existence singing. There is no I in the world, only one. And in that instant, you know you have crossed the final threshold. The transformation. Psalm 104-30 says, "You send forth your spirit, they are created, and you renew the face of the earth." Those words echo through your heart, because now you can feel it that spirit is flowing through you. You no longer need to connect with the source, because you are the source. Each breath, each heartbeat, each ray of light upon your skin is a living prayer. Then you hear the wind. But this time, it doesn't blow outside, it moves within you. A warm current flows from your heart, through your whole body, like thousands of tiny butterflies opening their wings. You begin to see everything through new eyes. No right or wrong, no gain or loss, only wholeness. Everything that once caused pain now appears beautiful. Everyone who once hurt you has become a teacher of your soul. You see them through the eyes of God, the eyes of absolute compassion. You remember all you have been, through the loneliness, the doubt, the darkness, the trials. Every crack, every wound that once made you tremble has become an opening for light to enter. None of your breaking was meaningless. It was the ceremony of transformation. Like coal becoming diamond, you were forged under pressure. And now, you shine. The sky within your mind expands, without limit. You feel as if you stand in the center of a galaxy, watching billions of stars orbit a radiant core, a core in which you too are shining. And among that spiraling light, a clear sound rises, the sound of creation. Not music, but vibration, frequency, the heartbeat of the cosmos. And you realize it is your heartbeat too. The light within you grows so strong that the world around you begins to change color. Every person you meet reflects a fragment of your energy. Someone sad carries a mist of gray, and when you smile, the mist fades into rose gold. Someone angry, you simply hold their hand, and their rage dissolves like vapor meeting sunlight. You understand you no longer need many words. Your presence itself is the miracle. Psalm 80-19 whispers in your heart, "Restore us, Lord God Almighty. Make your face shine on us, that we may be saved." You realize your face now shines, not because of adornment, but because your eyes have been restored. You see the world through the vision of the Creator, and through that gaze, all things are healed. Those who once avoided you begin to return. They do not know why they feel peace around you, only that your energy makes them want to cry, to release, to love again. You do not preach, you do not teach, you simply live. Yet every gesture, every smile, every breath becomes a silent reminder. They too can return. They too are light. Sometimes you see a child laugh. The innocence in their eyes reminds you the light never left humanity. It was only hidden beneath layers of fear. And now you feel your true calling, to awaken that light in others, not through words, but through presence. You move through life like the wind light, unbound, no attachments, no destinations. Each day is a ceremony, each breath a prayer, each glance a blessing. You no longer try to keep your energy high, because you are the energy itself. When others come near, they cannot help but feel it. Their bodies remember their souls, remember that they too once shone like this. Then one night, something extraordinary happens. During meditation, you feel the space around you expand. The light in the room thickens, almost visible. You open your eyes and see circles of light surrounding you, not an illusion, but an aura. For the first time, you see your own soul with your physical eyes. And at the center of that radiance, a number appears, 9 to 99. You smile softly. Prophetic seal, 999 completion. The closing of one cycle and the beginning of the next. You know, the old journey is complete. A new chapter, the chapter of service and illumination, is beginning. You bow your head, heart overflowing with gratitude. You no longer ask for anything, only whisper, "Thank you," for all that has ever been. And in that moment, you feel a warm wind embrace you, like the arms of the Father in heaven. A gentle voice speaks from somewhere far yet near. "You have remembered. Now help them remember too." Tears fall not from sorrow, but because the truth is too beautiful, too vast, too beyond words. You know you are no longer the one on the path. You are the path itself. When the light within you becomes completely still, you begin to hear what humanity has been searching for since the beginning of time, the eternal truth. Not the truth of knowledge, religion, or philosophy, but the truth of the soul. We all come from one source, and every path, no matter how winding, leads back to it. You sit in the quiet of morning, watching mist dance around the tips of the grass. Each droplet sparkles, as if it holds an entire universe within it. And you understand light is not only within you, it is in every grain of dust, every breath, every silent rhythm between the heart of man and the heart of the earth. All is one. All is singing the same song. A voice within your heart whispers, "This is the message. Speak it." You nod. No preparation, no sermon, only the heart. And so you begin to speak not with words, but with energy. Each thought you release spreads like waves of light across the sky. And you know, somewhere out there, souls are listening. To those who are weary, to those whose hearts have cracked, to the souls who believe they have been forgotten. Hear me, no one is forgotten. Your voice echoes through the stillness of the universe. Every pain you have ever felt was never meaningless. Every tear, every fall, every wound was a ceremony of birth for the soul. You were not born to escape the dark, but to bring light into it. Psalm 139:12 rises in your mind. Even the darkness will not be dark to you. You feel those words were written for this very moment. Darkness was never the enemy. It was the place where light learned to recognize itself. So to those who are lost, you continue, "Do not fear the night, for within the night, a seed of light is breaking open." You feel the wind shift. The air thickens, vibrating, as if the universe itself is listening. You keep speaking, slow and deep, like a prayer. The time has come for humanity to remember, not to remember knowledge, but essence. You are not merely bodies, not the roles you play in this material world. You are eternal souls, carrying the fingerprint of God. You pause, breathing in rhythm with the earth. In that stillness, your energy spreads outward. All boundaries dissolve, and softly, you say. If you are hearing these words, it means your soul is ready. Ready to remember, ready to return, ready to become the light. An image appears before you, millions of souls, each holding a small flame. They walk through storms, deserts, and fire, but all are moving toward the same radiant point. You understand. This is the great return. You whisper, almost through tears, we are not different. I am you, and you are me. When one soul is healed, the whole world rises. When one heart loves, the universe grows brighter. Psalm 85:10 shines in your mind. Mercy and truth have met together. Righteousness and peace have kissed. You smile. That is what you are witnessing. The meeting of opposites within love. When light and shadow embrace, a new world is born. You know this message is not only for those already awakened, but for those still sleeping. Because true love makes no distinction. It reaches every soul, even those not yet aware. And so you give the final message. Be gentle with yourself. Forgive yourself for what you did not know. And when you are ready, come home, for home was never closed. A warm breeze passes, carrying the scent of wildflowers. The sun rises higher, golden light spreading across the earth. Everything seems to nod, confirming that the universe has heard. You close your eyes and whisper, I have spoken. But just as you think it is done, another voice speaks, not yours, but the voice of the source itself. Not yet, my child of light. Tell them one more thing, that love is not a reward for the worthy, but the essence of all creation. And that every time they love, they remember me. Tears fill your eyes. Your heart expands beyond measure. All limits dissolve into the infinite. You whisper back, yes, I will tell them. And so you speak, one last time, not with voice, but with soul. Love is not the path to God. Love is God. When you love, you become Him. Each word, each vibration spreads through space, beyond the atmosphere, beyond time itself. You feel thousands, millions of hearts beating together, opening, remembering. No one speaks, yet every soul hears, and in that sacred silence, you see once again the numbers appear in the sky. 7 to 77. Light pours from them like a doorway into eternity. Prophetic seal. 777. The awakening of the soul. You understand. This is confirmation. The message is complete. The awakening has begun. You bow your head, overflowing with gratitude. And in that instant, there is no speaker, no listener, only light singing. A song without sound, echoing through all worlds. When all words have been spoken, only silence remains. And within that silence, a wondrous sound begins to rise, not from the sky, but from deep within your heart, the song of the soul. It carries no language, only waves of warmth that touch every cell, every breath. You understand, this is the first blessing, the blessing of pure presence. You lift your gaze to the sky. Evening has come. The last ray of sunlight kisses the edge of the clouds, leaving a trail of golden fire. Everything seems to pause within this sacred moment. You hear the wind, the hum of insects, the steady rhythm of your own heart. And you know this is the moment when God breathes with you. You close your eyes, place your hand on your chest, and whisper, I send this blessing to every soul who is listening, wherever they are, whenever they are facing. Let them remember they have never been alone. A gentle warmth radiates from your heart, spreading like a stream of golden light into the air. You can feel it moving across distance, through walls, through every home, touching those quietly searching for something greater than themselves. You see them, the mother crying in the dark, the young man bowed in loneliness, the woman smiling though her heart feels hollow, all wrapped in the same light. You speak again, your voice slow and deep, like a lullaby. To the weary soul, allow yourself to be loved. Let the tears fall, for tears are the shortest road back to God. Let your heart soften, for only when it is soft can it receive the light. Psalm 30:5 rises in your mind. Weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. You smile because you know that morning is near, and its light is already blooming within the hearts that are listening. You take a deep breath. Each inhale carries healing energy, spreading like fragrance. To those who have been broken, you whisper, know that your fractures are not the end. When light enters, it is through those very cracks that the soul shines brightest. You are not ruined. You are being reshaped by the hands of love. The wind stirs, carrying the scent of wet earth after rain. Everything falls silent to listen. This blessing, you continue, is not only for the awakened. It is for everyone, the believer and the skeptic, the joyful and the despairing. For in the eyes of God, there are no strangers, only children finding their way home. You open your eyes and look far into the horizon. There, at the edge of the clouds, a small pillar of light glows softly, not dazzling, but warm and steady, like an ancient promise that light will never leave this world. You feel your heart beat in rhythm with the pulse of the universe, and in that rhythm, you speak, your voice trembling slightly. May the blessing of peace surround you. Peace in the storm, peace in the chaos, peace that does not depend on circumstance, but rises from the depth of your soul. A quiet pause follows. Then you continue. May the blessing of courage walk beside you. So when darkness falls, you remember that you are the torch. When you are hurt, you still choose love over resentment. When the world tells you you're not enough, you smile, knowing you are already divine. Psalm 27:1 echoes softly, "The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear?" You breathe the words as a shared prayer. Whom shall I fear? You can feel the energy in the air, shifting light, clear, rippling like waves across a calm lake. A breeze rises, swirling golden leaves around you, then settles. Everything agrees. The blessing has been delivered. In your sight, countless tiny lights appear, not illusion, but souls answering. They smile, they cry, they sigh in relief. An invisible current connects them all, a living circuit of light encircling the earth. And you whisper, your voice so soft it almost becomes the wind. From now on, you no longer need to search for the light. Remember, you are the light. A deep silence follows. Then within that space, the number 1010 appears in your mind. Prophetic seal 1010. The awakening of two worlds. The union of heaven and earth. You know this is the mark of perfect blessing. The soul has reconnected with the source. No more division, no more distance. You bow your head. Tears fall, landing on the earth, blending with dust, turning into light. You whisper, let every tear become a flower, blooming in the hearts, in the eyes, in this world, so that when they see beauty, they will know they were never abandoned. You rise and take a deep breath. The air feels cool and new. Everything seems reborn. Each leaf, each grain of sand glows softly from within. You can feel the earth smiling, and you speak the final words of your blessing. If your soul can hear these words, let them reach the deepest part of your heart. Lay down your worries, release your burdens. You do not have to strive to be worthy. You only have to allow yourself to be loved, for love is the only true miracle. You lift your hands toward the sky. A small ray of light descends, answering your gesture. You smile. In your heart, only two words remain. Thank you. Thank you to the darkness for teaching you to see the light. Thank you to loss for revealing what cannot be lost. Thank you to life for everything. And as you turn to leave, the wind rises once more, but this time it carries a different sound. No longer the sobs of the world, but the soft breath of souls awakening. You know they have heard. The blessing has reached them. The light has returned. Every journey has a resting point. But for the soul, there is no ending. Only perfect circles following one another in the light. And now, you stand at such a point where the ending becomes a beginning, where farewell becomes an invitation to return. The sky is calm. The earth is asleep. But within you, a flame still burns. Not fiercely, not wildly, but softly and steady. That flame is the memory of the journey. It carries the shape of everything you have been through. The pain, the loss, the joy, the forgiveness, and in the end, love. All blend into one, becoming a gentle light in your heart. You look back at the road behind you. From the early days of confusion and loneliness to the moment your soul opened its eyes. Then, through trials, surrender, and transformation, all like waves following one another, carrying you from the dark shore to the bright one, you realize nothing was wasted. No wound was meaningless. Every tear was a seed of grace. Psalm 126:5 says, "Those who sow with tears will reap with songs of joy." You smile softly. Now, you stand in that field where the seeds of sorrow have bloomed into radiant flowers. Each flower is a lesson, a forgiveness, a mark of unconditional love. You turn toward the horizon. The sun rises once more, round, red, warm. Its light no longer blinds, but embraces you. And in that moment, you know, this journey was never yours alone. You walked so that others could see the path. You fell so that others could learn to rise. You cried so that they would know even tears can become light. A gentle breeze brushes your cheek, warm and soft, almost like a greeting from other souls awakening with you. You hear their voices, distant and tender, like heartbeats echoing across the sky. And you understand, you are never alone in this light. To those who are listening, you whisper, your voice blending with the wind, "Thank you for walking with me this far." If you are hearing these words, it means your soul is ready. Ready to love, ready to forgive, ready to be yourself. You pause, take a deep breath. The breath spreads outward like ripples across water. Do not think this journey is only my story. You continue. For when you listen with your heart, you become part of it. Every soul touched by light becomes another torch. And when thousands of torches shine together, darkness has no place to stand. Psalm 18:28 rises in your memory. The Lord will light my lamp. The Lord my God will enlighten my darkness. You whisper again, He lights my lamp. And as you speak, you feel thousands of other lamps being lit at the same moment, within the hearts of those who listen. A warm wind passes, carrying the soft sound of bells from afar. 3 times they ring, 3 perfect beats like the heart of the universe. You know this is confirmation. The blessing has been received. The journey is complete. You smile gently and speak again, your voice filled with love, like a storyteller sending a final message to fellow travelers. If you feel the light in your heart beginning to glow, do not hold it back. Spread it in the smallest ways. A smile, a thank you, a hug. For the universe does not need great miracles, only small hearts that know how to love. You breathe in, breathe out, slow and deep. And if this story has touched you, let the universe know that you have heard the call. Leave your mark, a comment, a share, as a way to say, I am coming home. Because when you acknowledge the light within, you make it stronger for all of us. A moment of silence. Then, as if in reply from the heavens, you hear a soft sound, the whisper of thousands of souls speaking together. We are coming home. You smile, and tears fall again. Not from sadness, but from pure joy. You know this journey has been fulfilled, but the light never stops. It continues. Through other stories, other voices, through the hearts of those who listen. You look up. Across the clear sky, a streak of light stretches long, not a shooting star, but like the signature of God on the canvas of the world. Beneath that light, you hear a final whisper from within. You have completed your part. Now, let the light do the rest. You close your eyes, take a deep breath, and smile. No more words are needed, only silence, calm, deep, complete. You stand there between earth and sky and dissolve into the light. If you feel something moving within you, if you feel the light rising, know that you too have been chosen. Like, share, subscribe. Not for me, but for the light within you. For every time you spread goodness, an angel smiles, a moment of stillness. Then the music fades. Your voice like the final breath of light. Go and become the story you have just heard. All sounds fade away. Only the wind and the heartbeat remain. The light is still there. You are still there. And the journey continues. Grateful that you chose to spend these moments in the light of this story. If it touched your soul, please like, share, and subscribe, and ring the bell so the next whisper of light may find its way back to you.